do now is talk about something called 5 key elements of a small group. This is not original material of mine. This was borrowed from Campus Crusade for Christ, which is a big small group organization in universities around the United States, but also sometimes in Canada. I think Campus Crusade is going on here as well. And I want to talk to you real quick before we get into this. In leading small groups, the goal of having you be the leaders of these small groups are to have successful small groups. And I believe that these specific 5 keys to having a successful small group are relevant to you. And I also think that they really do work. And I think that they work because I've actually used them all in leading small groups. And if you'll put your mind to all of these things happening as you lead your team, I'm convinced that most people in your team will walk away feeling like that they had a good experience being a part of your team. So now, I don't know how often, who was the leaders of small groups last year or teams last year? Raise your hand if you were a team leader last year. Tell me your first name. Kenny. How often are you leading a team? Leading a small group Bible study over the course of those 2 or 3 days? Thinking back, Kenny. Twice a day you're leading kind of a small group or a Bible study? Okay, Kenny, you weren't even paying attention last year, were you? Whenever you were leading? No, I'm just kidding. Good, all right. So maybe 2 or 3 times a day that you're doing this. So Kenny, what I'm about to give you, I want you to keep in mind, you're not going to have these sheets that you're filling out now in your pocket come TC time. So you're just going to have to remember that these are 5 important parts of quality small groups, all right? So the very first one is something called self-discovered learning. Self-discovered learning. Now this is simple. It's self-explanatory. Self-discovered learning means what? What do you think that phrase really means? Eunice, if I ask you to define self-discovered learning in a small group Bible study setting, what do you think that means? Exactly. And to use the words of the phrase self-discovered learning, you're actually just sort of learning as you go. Many times when people are talking to you, you pick up on something that they haven't said, or maybe something that they've said, but that's not the point that they're trying to make. And so you just sort of learn that before you leave. So self-discovered learning is one of the most important keys of an effective small group.